All right, what do you got? Eric?
Looked like you changed holders
What's
today.
going on here with the flipping of seats? Is this something I need to be concerned about? Okay, all right.
He wanted to ask the injury question.
Okay. Montgomery, he got a chance to work with the first group, with Deshaun and, everything that we're asking him to do, we felt like let's take a look at Montgomery. And look, I'll be honest with you, Justin, we had a conversation with our kickers and he had been lobbying a little bit for Van Gorder. And so we said we'd give it a shot. And there's a pretty good connection there with that group. So we'll continue to work. He obviously has a little bit more free time in terms of being able to get over there and spend a little bit more time with him. We're going to move in that direction right now, and Montgomery will be with that battery right now.
Spring has Justin had, or have you not seen much since you've been inside so much?
It looks like he's got a little bit more pop in his leg. So last year, we felt like his cliff in terms of where we felt like there was a comfort level was about 43 yards. We've extended that here in the spring to about 47 to 50. So a little bit more pop, a little bit more strength in the leg. So I think that's what we've seen more than anything else.
What are some of the deciding factors in you've had Crawford working at nickel, the other corner spot opposite Luke is open, so to speak. What are some of the deciding factors in making that decision with Crawford in mind?
I think more than anything else, the ability to play some man coverage in there. We like his ability to play man. Very smart player, instinctive player. I think you have to have a real good sense of the field. Corners play out by the numbers, and they got a friend with them. It's called the sideline. Guy that plays inside has got to understand the field a lot better. He's got to have an instinct that can play inside, and he just has a natural instinct playing inside a lot better. So a guy that can play inside is a little bit more unique in a sense that he's got to have really good speed because he's got to cover guys coming across the field, going vertical, and he possesses that speed and instinct. So he's a little bit unique in that sense.
From speaking with Coach Van Gorder the other day, I mean, you guys weren't able to use a lot of nickel dime last year.
Right.
I mean, how important is that on your priority list as to being flexible enough to do that this season?
Well, that's a priority for us, and we're working Cole Luke a lot at that position as well. We don't want to be in a position where we feel like we can't even go to our two. We feel good about Cole and getting him. We're getting him a ton of work at that position as well. So we want to feel like we're going to go into the season with two very good nickels and not put ourselves in a position where we can't take, the Sam off the field and get the kind of matchups that we need. We thought at times we were in some unfavorable matchups with a slot receiver on our Sam.
I don't think we've talked to you since the Watkins injury. That's
Yes.
a
Surgery went well.
injury.
Yeah. Brian Radican did the surgery, 4 screws, plate, and he was at practice today in a sling, 6 weeks, and shouldn't have any issues after that.
With him being out, how does this just help the overall, more of the depth in the defensive backfield?
Yeah, so, Nick Coleman gets more work, right? I think that just from a cornerback, position, Ashton White gets more work, so some of those young guys, get a little bit more work out at that position, and, that's a good thing. Certainly we'd love to have Nick out there, but it doesn't put us in a deficit in the sense that we still have enough guys out there that need the work, and we're going to get the work anyway.
And just switching to the offensive side, just kind of talk about the tight ends a little bit, what you've seen from them so far in this camp. What can they do to help out your offense?
Well, I think we continue to build depth at that position, and obviously Durham Smythe coming back and gaining more strength, physically getting stronger is obviously priority number one, coming back from really 2 injuries. Secondly, Nick Wisher, gaining more confidence on a day-to-day basis. Alize Jones learning more of the offense and feeling more comfortable out there. We know he's a very good pass catcher. I think just being more comfortable with inline blocking. And Jacob Matuska is really doing a nice job for us. Catches the ball better than we thought. And really picking up the techniques as an inline blocker. So I feel really good about the tight end position. I think we've got some depth, and that guys can be very versatile there as well.
Is there any, speaking just for Alize, his frame that he has, this body frame is almost like a receiver. Is there anything that you're going to try to do to use him more in the receiving game?
Yeah, I think there's certainly some versatility there. Today we worked him out at some of the receiver positions. The W receiver is certainly a position that it's easy for him to go there. There's a lot of similarities when he's detached that the tight end has with the W receiver. So if we needed to go in that direction, we certainly could. With Corey Robinson being out, we're a little thin at that position. So we like to give him some reps each and every day at that position, and he certainly can do some things out there for us.
Where do you stand with Corey Robinson right now? Did he see the
He's going to have an evaluation with a specialist this week, and we'll have, he'll have a consultation with a specialist this week. He's doing better, and I think we'll know a lot more about him in his situation after he has that consultation.
C.J. Sanders end up having surgery?
Yes, he did. Yeah, very successful. He was at practice today, and I think everything is him being able to get into a physical activity late June, and then certainly July be a very big month for him in terms of getting back physically and into camp. Hopefully using camp to get him in a position to compete against Texas.
With CJ out, has there been time for experimentation at the return game? Some other prospects there?
Yeah, we had Stefferson back there, Torrey Hunter, obviously his baseball background, he tracks the ball very well. It's very seamless, easy for him to, punts, yeah. And Fink's back there too. He catches the ball very well. So those three guys were the ones that we had back there catching punts, and they all handled the duties very, very well.
What on kick returns?
We've only had one day where we worked on it, and we had Dexter and Josh back there handling those duties. But I think that's one where we'll continue to kind of wait until we get into outdoor kind of conditions to. It's so difficult to do it indoors, to get a real accurate feel of the timing and how to hit that thing. So I think that's yet to be determined.
Brian, the quarterback position, what have you seen so far, and do you anticipate that going into the summer and fall, or do you think you'll have an answer after spring?
I don't think we'll make a decision after spring. I will say this. I mean, the two quarterbacks are really good players, and so each one of them has different things that they need to work on. I think one thing that we're realizing is we did a lot of things offensively that we did not do with Malik in camp that we did as we evolved offensively during the year. So there's a lot of things that he's doing for the first time. So knowledge base for Malik has been important in terms of the spring. So he's needed this spring to kind of pick up some of the things that we put in offensively during the year. So it's been very good for him. So it's hard to evaluate strictly, who's ahead of who, because we're really installing for him. But communication, footwork, all those things, balance, those are the things that Malik needs to continue to work on. Deshaun, it's what I talked about before. It's across the board reads. It's red zone efficiency. It's consistency. So they have different things that they're working on, and they're both progressing at it. They're both number ones. they both probably can't play at the same time. So one's going to have to be the starter, and somebody is going to be unhappy. But I can't keep them all happy. And we're not going to go into the season with a team that does not have an identity. We're going to have an identity as to who we are. And it doesn't mean we can't play more than one quarterback, but we'll have a quarterback and we'll get that established.
Brian, following up on the quarterbacks, is there anything you learned from last year's Golson-Zaire thing that helped you with this situation? Also, did you look at how Ohio State did theirs, for better or for worse?
Well, it seemed to me that Ohio State really found their identity when, after the Michigan State game, where, I think in a lot of ways Ezekiel Elliott could be credited with kind of waking up their entire coaching staff and saying, who are we, right? So I think the lessons learned there are, what's your identity going to be? And they clearly decided who they were going to be after that game. They went with JT and said, this is what we're going to be, and that's who they were against us. And so I'll make sure that that doesn't happen to us. We'll have an identity. We'll know who we are. Doesn't mean you can't play two quarterbacks, but we'll clearly need to know that. And you just can't keep three quarterbacks happy. Somebody's going to be disappointed, but they're going to have to know their roles and accept their roles moving forward.
Pretty high on Sam Huss for entering the spring, 10 practices in. Has he met your expectations in the middle?
Yeah, I think he's been very solid for us and consistent. I know that we put a lot on our center. We're not giving him as much that we gave Nick in terms of flipping protections and doing all that right away. So we're asking the quarterback to do a little bit more of that. But he'll gradually move into those shoes, if you will. So we've been pleased with what he's been able to accomplish as a first-time center for us, because there's a lot going on there. But yeah, he's going to be a solid player for us.
Just circling back to Smythe, he doesn't have any new injuries. That's just stuff from
No,
left
he's
over.
just getting stronger. He missed the whole year of weight training, really. So, just developing that strength back in terms of inline blocking, lower body. He wasn't able to do much at all in terms of, gaining that strength. And so that's really the process that he's in.
The consistency and confidence out of Jerron, you were hoping to see this soon.
I would say that Jerron is, still playing a bit tentative, and I think he understands that he's got to play with more confidence, and I'm confident that he will when the lights go on. But having said that, I mean, he's going to be challenged. There's a lot of good players in there, and he's going to have to really bear down and make that concerted effort to really challenge himself, because we know he's got some real unique qualities. His size, his ability to push the pocket, those things are still there. I think a little bit of some of his confidence has got to come back, and I think when it does, I think he'll definitely be able to help us.